So I'm sorry I'm not there today. I'm hoping to be back tomorrow. But Wednesday you should have completed 3-1, which should have introduced parallel lines. So parallel lines are simply lines that never intersect. They run side by side like railroad tracks, so they're on the same plane, go in the same direction. Perpendicular lines intersect at a right angle. And then skew lines are two lines that don't intersect, but they're not on the same plane or they go in different directions. So parallel lines and skew lines are very similar. Both of them are a set of lines that don't intersect, but the difference is parallel lines go in the same direction, but skew lines don't. So that is going to be a test question when we take the chapter test. So how are parallel lines and skew lines alike? They don't intersect. How are they different? Parallel lines go in the same direction, skew lines go in different directions. So that's kind of the lines in a nutshell. And then you learned about 4 special types of angles. So corresponding angles, alternate interior angles, alternate exterior angles, and same side angles. And we're going to spend some more time today working with those 4 types of angles. So to start the notes today, we're going to take those 4 angles and go one step further. So when we talk about corresponding angles, and the abbreviation I want you using for corresponding will be CORR. If a transversal intersects 2 parallel lines, then corresponding angles are congruent. So corresponding angles are congruent, and we know congruent means they're the same, they're equal. So looking at the picture, if I want angles that are corresponding, let's look at angle 1. So the angle corresponding to angle 1 will be in the same position. So angle 1 is in the upper left-hand corner. So angle 5 is also in the upper left-hand corner. So angle 1 is congruent to angle 5. All right, so now we're going to look at angle 2. So if I look at angle 2 is in the upper right-hand corner. So I look at the other intersection. Angle 6 is also in the upper right-hand corner. So angle 2 is congruent to angle 6. All right, so let's look at angle 4. Angle 4 is in the lower left, so I look at the other intersection. We look at the lower left, that would be angle 7. So angle 4 is congruent to angle 7. And then the last set would be 3 and 8. So we know that angle 3 is in the lower right, angle 8 is in the lower right. So angle 3 is congruent to angle 8. So there are 4 sets of corresponding angles. Now, the next set of angles is going to be alternate interior angles. So alternate interior angles, the abbreviation is alt-int. When you have 2 parallel lines, then alternate interior angles are congruent. So alternate interior angles are congruent. So we're talking about interior, so that's going to be between your lines. One will be on the left side, and the other one will be on the right side. Notice we always use an angle from the top intersection and one from the bottom intersection. So angle 4 is congruent to angle 6. All right, so now let's look at the other set of alternate interior angles. So that would be angle 3 on the right to angle 5 on the left. So angle 3 is congruent to angle 5. All right, now we're going to talk about alternate exterior angles. The abbreviation is alt and then EXT, so alt-ext. And when the lines are parallel, alternate exterior angles are congruent. All right, so alternate exterior angles, so that means it's going to be outside, so we're talking about above or below the 2 lines. So angle 1 is outside on the left, so angle 8 would be outside on the right, so angle 1 is congruent to angle 8. And then we're also looking at angle 2 is outside on the right, so that would go with angle 7, which is outside on the left. So angle 2 is congruent to angle 7. All right, so that leaves one other type of angle, and that is same side interior. We abbreviate that just same side. And when the lines are parallel, then same side are supplementary. So same side are supplementary. That means they add up to 180. So same side interior, that means we're back inside, but we're on the same side. So 4 and 5 are both on the left. So angle 4 plus angle 5 equals 180. And that means on the other side, on the right side, angle 3 and angle 6 would be supplementary. So angle 3 plus angle 6 equals 180 degrees. So that's what we're going to be using today. So looking down here at exercises 1 and 2, it says identify all numbered angles congruent to the given angle and explain. So if I look at the given angle, it's 136. There's going to be 3 angles that match that. So we've got angle 6 because those are vertical. So we're going to say because vertical angles are congruent. All right, we also have angle 2 is going to be 136 because those are corresponding. And the last angle is going to be angle 4, and that's because alternate exterior angles are congruent. So you have to be able to tell what kind of angles you're dealing with. So looking at example 2, again, we have the 72, so we know angle 2 because vertical angles are congruent. We know angle 5 will be 72 because alternate interior angles are congruent. And finally, angle 7 will have to be congruent because corresponding angles are congruent. All right, for the next section, it says we are going to figure out what all of the angles are based on the fact that we know this angle is 100 degrees. So using the same kind of idea we used on that example above, we know that angle 3 has to be 100 because vertical angles are congruent. We know angle 5 is 100 because corresponding angles are congruent. And then we know angle 7 is going to be 100 degrees. So you could use alternate exterior angles, or you could use vertical between 5 and 7. But either way, angle 7 is 100 degrees. Now, everything else on this picture, so you always have 4 that'll be 100, so the one you were given and then the 3 other ones. Everything else is supplementary. So it's going to be 180 minus 100, which is 80. So all the other angles are 80, and there should be 4 of them. So angle 2, angle 4, angle 6, and angle 8. And you could use linear pairs, you could use same side or supplementary, but all the other angles are going to be 80 degrees. All right, last example, we're going to find x and then we're going to plug it in. So in example 4, these 2 angles, like if this was extended out, these would be same side interior, and same side are supplementary. So we know that means they should add up to 180 degrees. So I'm just going to take both angles and set them equal to 180 degrees. So you're going to combine your like terms. So you have 8x's plus 4x's is 12x's. 10 minus 10 cancels equals 180. Divide both sides by 12, and you're going to get x equals 15. Now I'm supposed to plug it back in. So 4 times 15 minus 10 tells me that this angle is 50. And 8 times 15 plus 10 tells me that this angle is 130. So that gives me my 2 angles. Now angle 5 is a little harder, or number 5 is a little harder. We've got x's and y's. So the first thing I do is I kind of look at which letter do I have 2 of. So we have 2 x angles here, and those happen to be corresponding. Now corresponding angles are congruent. So that means I set these 2 equal to each other. And I can solve for x. So I'm going to subtract 9x from both sides. And we're going to get 2x minus 1 equals 21. Add 1 to both sides, and then divide by 2. So you're going to get x is 11. And then you plug it back in. So 9 times 11 plus 21 is 120. 11 times 11 is 121. Minus 1 is 120. Now, these 2 angles right here make a straight line, and we know a straight line is 180 degrees. So 180 minus 120 tells me this bottom angle is supposed to be 60. So 5y minus 5 equals 60. Add 5 to both sides, 5y equals 65. And then divide, and you get y equals 13. So on the homework, you're going to have some like examples 4 and 5, and I did try to tell you, I gave you hints on like whether you're using corresponding or whether you're using same side, so make sure you use the hints. You're going to have some like example 3 where you have to basically figure out what all of the other angles are, and then you're going to have some that it's going to tell you which angle it wants you to find. And that's pretty much what the lesson is for today. So you just have to realize that if they're corresponding, they're congruent. If they're same side, they add up to 180. If they're alternate interior, they're congruent. And if they're alternate exterior, they're congruent. So that's basically all you have to do. They're all equal except for same side, and same side are supplementary. Good luck. If you have any questions, let me know.